Hello, where are you from?
I'm from Yemen,
Yemen. Okay. And what's your religion?
Muslim.
And where do you live now? America?
New York, yes.
Okay, New York in the house, the place to be. Okay, so what would you like to say about Israel Palestine?
Question: What do you think about the deal that just happened in between Hamas and Israel?
Age group in Israel. Age group. TikTok friendly words. So let me tell you something. I watch this really, really good, and I don't watch YouTube videos. I have like no attention span for it. But I actually sat through an hour long YouTube video, which is a miracle for me. It was one with a journalist giving his analysis on it. Very good journalist. His name is. Let me get his name. Let me get his name. Hold on. Let me get his name. His name is. Oh my God! What is his name? I'm gonna. What's his name? Hold on. Let me get the name of the video. His name is. Oh my God! Why can't I get his name? His name is. The name of the video is called "Gaza Ceasefire Goes into Effect when Naveed Aval." So basically, he was giving his analysis on it. And I think, honestly, that the ceasefire might not hold because H Group keeps on violating it. And they violate it, and then they say, okay, Israel will follow the rules. They violate it, and they say, okay, Israel will follow the rules. So I don't know how much it's going to hold. Uh, though Trump's pressure might keep it intact. But here's another part of this component, right? H Group might stay in power, and Israel doesn't want that. So the fighting, in order for H Group not to stay in power, has to continue. So I listened to an Israeli spokesperson, and no, an ex-IDF spokesperson, who I think what he says is like the word of God when it comes to Israel. He said he believes the fighting will continue because Israel doesn't want H Group in power. So that means the fighting has to continue because if the fighting doesn't, H Group will be in power. So the question is, will the fighting continue to get H Group out of power? And this will be temporary, or will the fighting not continue? Because H Group, like people who are experts on H Group say, even Palestinians, H Group is not going to give up power willingly. They're just not going to go away unless they're destroyed. They just won't do it. They're never going to say, okay, we're giving this up for the sake of the better sake of the Gazans to end this war, to not make any more booming on Gaza. They'll just never do it. They'd rather have Gaza burned to the ground than lose power. They're not going to do it. So the question is, what is the end result in this? Does this accomplish anything, or does this just get the hostages back and put the fighting on hold for a little while, and then we're back to booming? Hello, I'm done.
I see. Okay, so you're saying they're going like back to the war right after they getting the hostages out. Is that what you're saying?
I think that probably is going to be what's going to happen because H Group is not just going to probably. I mean, I know they're not going to give up their control of Gaza, and I don't think that Israel's going to be satisfied until H Group is gone because for two reasons. First of all, the government wants H Group gone, and second of all, the Israeli public, just like this journalist said, is not going to be happy with H Group staying and there being a possibility of another October 7th because H Group keeps on saying they're going to do October 7th again and again and again. They're still doing tear attacks in the West Bank. So, like, I mean, with that threat over looming over and over forever, if H Group stays in power, like, what was the point of this if H Group is not gone? Like, this was all for no point except to get the hostages back.
But I think this war was the most difficult for Israel to be involved in. So I'm sure they're gonna
I
be.
think the reason why it was so difficult was because there was a ground invasion. That's why they lost so many troops because there was a ground invasion, right? They didn't just boom from the air like they usually do. So there was that was the issue. It was a ground invasion. But the thing about it is that you know the journalist did a very good analysis of this, and he said, to say that Israel didn't accomplish anything is just false. First of all, they strongly weakened H Group in Lebanon. They they very much weakened H Group in Gaza. If they hadn't applied that military pressure, the hostages wouldn't have come back, because the bottom line, he brought up a very good point. H group held the previous hostages for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. The fact that H group is giving back these hostages and for less prisoners than they did with other hostages is because of the military pressure. So the thing about it is the military pressure has accomplished some things. So, and the thing about it is the axis of evil, as they call them, has been very much weakened. H group in Lebanon, H group in Gaza. So even though H group in Gaza isn't destroyed, like, there has been some, and also I don't know how much the Houthis have been weakened, but I think, like, they've Israel's and the Americans have caused them some issues. So I think, because of this whole thing in Gaza and everybody getting involved, it's caused Israel to address a lot of these different groups and cause these groups a lot of issues. So, yeah.
I see. Okay, one more last question. Do you think a lot of Jewish would convert to Islam right after they hear the stories of the hostages, specifically the first three, like how Hamas were trying to keep them from?
Age group. I don't understand what.
I was saying, do you think a lot of Jewish would convert to Islam right after they hear the stories from the hostages, how Israel were trying to protect them from the Israeli attack, and they were
Convert
safe
to Islam. Why would they convert to Islam?
because they were protecting them from the Israeli attack.
But H group wasn't doing that.
What do you mean? So why are they still alive?
Because H group, the only reason H group keeps the hostages alive is because they need them to trade against prisoners. They want them for prisoner exchanges, not because they like them. They're torturing the hostages. They're essaying the hostages. They're torturing them. They're starving them. They're wounding them. You think that's going to make Jews convert to Islam? Really?
But let me
What
tell
the
you
hell you want
something.
to drive? You think that
Hold
you
on, hold
think
on.
hold on, I gotta save this recording. You think that H group keeping hostages is gonna make Jews convert to Islam? That's the
It's
hill
a
you want to
question.
die on today?
It's a
Really?
question.
You really, really believe that?
Yes and no question. Okay, let me say why I believe that.
I gotta
Okay,
hear this.
you're saying they just keeping them in order to trade the I mean to
Because
exchange them.
live bodies are worth more prisoners than unalive bodies.
But if H group worry about their prisoners
They don't
and
worry about their prisoners. The only reason they're keeping them alive is because the Israelis will give more prisoners. Just like in this hostage exchange, the Israelis said, we'll give you more prisoners for the live bodies than we will the unalive bodies. The reason why the Palestinians are not getting as many prisoners is because some of the bodies they're giving are not alive. Some of them they're giving are unalive. So the more live bodies they give, the more prisoners they get. That's the reason they're keeping them alive, not because they
I
like
don't
them
I don't
or
I
they're
don't see
protecting them.
I don't see that. I don't see that's the reason.
That's literally the reason, because literally they get more Palestinian prisoners for them. Like, look at the ceasefire agreement. They literally get less prisoners for I mean, H group literally won't tell them how many people are alive versus unalive, but Israel does like an estimate, and they estimate how many Palestinian prisoners they get based on what Israel has made an assumption that, like, out of let's say the 33 people they're going to get, that maybe 25 of them are alive and 5 of them are unalive. So they give that, I'm just making up a number. They give like 50 for every alive person, and, like, maybe 20 for every unalive person. I'm just making up a number. I don't know the number. But I saw this in the interview I watched. They were talking about this in the interview I watched, the one I mentioned in the live earlier. They were talking about this, that they give less for the unalived hostages that they get back. And H group knows this. H group knows if they unalive a hostage, that they're going to get less prisoners for them, and that it's less valuable.
Yeah, but they're not getting more than what was killed.
Again, they're going to get less prisoners if they unalive a hostage. Anyway, nobody's converting to Islam because H group took hostages.
Okay, but that's not okay. The point is, you're saying
Patriots not protecting hostages. They're literally SAing them while they're alive and torturing them and starving them. So
let's hear that from him.
I'm sorry, but nobody's converting to Islam over hostage taking.
The next days would tell the stories. I mean, we're gonna just see what's
Yeah,
gonna.
whatever you say, dude. Okay, have a nice day.
Thank you.